partner in life, in work. He was older than Bess by a few years, was already managing his late father's farm at Windmill Farm, was solid and generous and accepting of Bess's timorous nature. He was trustworthy and devoted and calm-natured, and he wasn't wishy-washy about being plain or loving Bess. Unlike that someone else whom she'd tried not to think about. And then she realized what she was doing. Comparing. Stop it, Bess, stop it. She covered her face with her hands. Why was she struggling to tamp down thoughts about Billy lately? Billy Lapp had been Bess's first love. Only 12 when she had first met him after her grandfather's funeral, she remembered feeling struck dumb by his good looks. But it was on her second visit to Rose Hill Farm, when she was 15 and had come to Stoney Ridge for a short visit only to end up staying, that she lost her heart to him. It was the summer when her widowed father had met and married Lainey. Bess had fallen head over heels in love with Billy, but was caught in something her friend Maggie Zook called a classic love triangle. Maggie knew all about these kinds of things from reading romance novels on the sly. Bess loved Billy, Billy loved Betsy Mast. Betsy loved someone else who didn't love her. Bess's love for Billy was dampened, watered down, but not extinguished, not entirely. Then, the following year, she and Billy were slowly but surely finding their way to each other. Suddenly, Betsy Mast reappeared out of the blue on the same day that Billy had a terrible row with his family, and he left Stoney Ridge without a glance back. Once again, Bess felt her heart shrink like a sponge being wrung out. It was always in the back of her mind that, given the chance, Billy might choose Betsy over her as he had once done. It had been a sore point between them, and yet she understood it too. Maybe there was just something about that first love. A tiny part of her couldn't let go of Billy. And Amos, dear Amos, he had always known a part of her longed for Billy. He courted her patiently and persistently, all the while his dark brown eyes would search her face, trying to see into her heart. Last month, when Amos asked her to marry him for the 3rd time, he told her that he wanted an answer, and he wanted it to be yes. She knew it was time to face reality. Billy was gone. Amos was here. Billy didn't love her in a wholehearted way. Amos did. A conversation she'd once had with her grandmother floated up from the recesses of her mind. "Bess," Mommy would say, "you can't go back, not in this life. You have to go forward." So she had said yes. Still, a nagging thought kept poking at her, like a sliver in her finger. Why wasn't she more excited about getting married? She should be. Amos Lapp was a wonderful man. But she could never bring herself to tell him that she loved him in return. She thought she did love him, but the words clogged in her throat whenever she tried. Was it because she had imagined saying those words to Billy? Stop it, Bess, stop. She turned from the window and dressed quickly, then hurried outside to be the first to make footprints in the snow before her father woke and started choring. Childish, she knew, for someone her age, but she couldn't help herself. It was a game she and her dad had played for as long as she could remember. Lainey, her dad's wife, only smiled and rolled her eyes at their silly traditions. Bess delighted in the seasons, each one, and took special pleasure in winter's first appearance. As she walked out the kitchen door, a cold blast of air hit her in the face, making her eyes sting. Wrapped in coat and mittens with a scarf on her head, she went out to the yard, and for nearly a minute she stood utterly still, basking in the simple familiarity of such a sight, such a home. A place she loved. The world was so quiet, so muffled under a blanket of snowfall. She wandered through the snow to the rose fields, breathing in the crisp, clean, freezing air, cheeks numb. She stood and gazed at the roses that her grandmother loved so much, roses that were pruned down to canes for winter's rest. She turned around slowly in a circle, committing